If you're waiting for a man to choose you like duck, duck, goose, this video is for you. I had a coaching session with a beautiful woman, and that is what I said to her. Many women that I work with, whether it's in counseling or coaching, are waiting for a man to choose them. And I want to talk about the dangers of that, but I also want to empower you to move from waiting for a man to choose you to mutual selection. If you're new here, welcome to Heal the New Sex, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Cynthia. I'm a licensed therapist and coach, and I want to talk about wanting to be chosen by a man. Like, dating has changed from how our mothers dated, how our grandmothers dated. Dating has changed, and I want women to feel empowered as it relates to their relationships, okay? I don't want you to feel like you're waiting for a man to choose you. Usually when I see women who are working with me waiting for a man, hoping for a man to choose them, they are engaging in performance, they're engaging in proving themselves, they're trying to show up as perfect, they're trying to show up as a wife, so this man will select them. But they are not doing their due diligence as relates to evaluating him to see if he wants to be a husband, if he wants to be a father, if he wants an exclusive relationship, if he is really compatible, and if they are aligned. And this only sets you up for what? Heartbreak and headache, okay? So we're not going to do that, okay? So I want to talk about the mindset that's keeping you small and how to shift from wanting to be chosen to engaging in mutual selection. And I remember doing the video, Why Every Woman Should Date Selfishly. And while the girlies love it, the men, they came at me. And it made me feel like I'm on to something. If the brothers are coming out and they are talking like this in the comments, yes. So let's talk about why being chosen feels powerful. In the society we live in, there's a lot of validation for a woman when she has a ring on her finger. I know for me, my channel will change. It will change what I'm talking about, but it will change how people view me when a man puts a ring on my finger. Because in the society we live in, a woman is not valid until a man has chosen her. Until a man says, Cynthia is my wife, there's a certain level of respect that I'm not going to receive. And I'm okay with that, because I know, whether I share my thoughts as a single woman and then I share them as a married woman, the things that I'm teaching you are still valid. It's just that society will begin to interact with me when they know that a man has married me. And so many women are waiting for a man to choose them because it feels validating. You feel validated. You feel affirmed. It makes you feel as if you are enough. It makes you feel that you are desirable. You have tied your worth into being into a relationship versus you appreciating your singleness and know that you're worthy as a single woman. There's value in being a single woman. Society puts emphasis on being in relationship. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the relationship, because guess what? Everybody, you should have multiple relationships. You should have your romantic relationship with your family, your business partners, your girlfriends, relationship with your children, your community, your church. But you need to understand that you are whole as a woman, even if you're a single woman. I don't want you to date from a place looking for a man to complete you. I want you to date from a place of being whole. Okay? For many of us, especially as a Black woman, right? We've grown up in systems that tell us that we're not enough. So we've had to overachieve. We have to overextend ourselves. We have to overperform. So that is just, in order for us to have, we have to do a whole lot compared to our other counterparts. So many of us are used to the performance. In order for you to get the promotion, you have to go over and beyond. Even our appearance, we do a whole lot as it relates to how we show up. I think that's why, now I'm going to say this. I think we engage in, let me say it this way, we engage in respectability politics as women of color. Okay? How we show up, dressed to the nines, always feeling like, we can't look like what we're going through, is because of society expectations. And so then when we get into a relationship and a man finally says that you are the one, it can feel like it's healing. It can feel validating. It can feel like the neosporin that our soul needs. But The issue is if your value rises and falls as relates to your relationships, whenever you're not in a relationship, then you don't feel worthy. And society has kind of created that atmosphere where we won't necessarily feel worthy because we don't have a man. But if you're truly decentering men, then you also have to be comfortable in your singleness. You have to be comfortable with rejecting what society says as relates to single women. And you show up the way that you want to show up, not because of what society says, okay? It's very dangerous when you outsource your self-worth, when you outsource your self-worth to a man. Because when he leaves, so goes your self-worth, your confidence, your self-esteem. That should all belong to you. That's what Cat Williams said. It's your self-esteem, right? When you outsource your self-worth, then guess what? Your identity is in that man. Many women get in relationships and they lose themselves. They lose themselves in being a wife. They lose themselves in being a mother. And society supports that. But I'm telling you, don't do that. You should still be who you are, whether you're married or not. You have children or you don't. When I go to my son's school, they always say, that's Gabriel's mom. That's Gabriel's mom. I'll be like, my name is Cynthia. But I love my son. But I get it. Society will have you lose all of who you are for a relationship and for children. Meanwhile, men get to maintain their individuality. He's not known necessarily for being a husband and a father. He's known for what he does. And that also could be problematic too. Okay. So let's talk about the auditioning trap. When you're waiting to be chosen, and this is the example I gave the young lady that I did the coaching session with. I said Queen Sheba was a queen when she showed up to speak to King Solomon. And you should see yourself as a queen. You shouldn't be trying to shrink yourself in order to be chosen. If you have to shrink yourself, then that should be an indication that that man doesn't have capacity for you and everything that comes with you. You are a queen. And I don't mean that in like they be like grand rising. I don't mean that like that. I mean like your life, you rule it. Outside of God, you rule your life. And what happens for many of us, and I'm so excited for the 21-year-olds. I had a 20-year-old in coaching earlier today and 25-year-olds. I'm so excited that you guys are watching my videos. Like that makes my heart smile because I wish someone really empowered me to show up versus teaching me to shrink myself in order to be chosen. The reason why I kind of show up the way that I do online is because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did in dating. Okay. This performance in order to get a man only will cause you headache and heartbreak in the end. And it also leads to self-betrayal because if you show up a certain way, men see you like that. And when you want to be yourself, then he's going to be confused because he's going to be like, you weren't like that when we were dating. And you weren't because you were playing a role. You were auditioning in order to secure what society told you is the most important thing, which would be marriage. And I don't want you. I want a man to love you in your authentic self. I want you to embrace your authenticity. I want you to go outside of your authenticity. I want you to be who you are. Don't betray yourself in order for a relationship. The first relationship that should be the most valuable to you outside of your relationship with God is your relationship with yourself. Don't betray you in order to be in relationship with someone else. And that means whether it's spiritual relationships, whether it's church, whether it's at work, whether it's in friendship, or family, don't betray you in order to be in a relationship with someone else. Show up and take up space. There's a space that God created for you, and you need to take up that space and you need to dominate that space. Okay? And don't worry about what people say or what people think. That's their business. Do you. When you take your last breath, when you are on your deathbed, you should say, man, I lived life and I lived it good. There should be no regrets. Do you understand me? That's what cancer taught me last year, okay? So when you're waiting to be chosen, you're overperforming. I tell y'all, stop giving up all that emotional labor and physical labor. Oh, girl, I told a man, listen, I am not domesticated. Baby, if you're looking for somebody to cook and clean and be barefooted in your kitchen, it's not me. Now, do I know how to cook and clean? Yeah, I do. But I just wanted to set the tone. The reason why someone asked me, they didn't show up to group coaching, but I'm going to put this out there. The reason why a man will ask you to go to do a Netflix and chill date with you and he doesn't really know you is because he is trying to determine if you are going to, what you're going to accept. There are some men that come in and they date like this. They date very high. They're going to take you to the dates. I dated this man. Oh my gosh. I dated this man. He changed my life. I miss him. I dated this man. He was like, get whatever you want. Entree, appetizer, dessert. Do you want something to go? You know, if we were meeting up someplace, he would order the wine for me before I got there. It was, he had an experience. Okay. But a reason why a man will ask you to do these low dates, and I'm going to call them low, you know, is because he's trying to see what your boundaries are, what your standards are, and if you're enforce them. You teach that man how to treat you. Okay. Right. So when you're waiting to be chosen, you're going to ignore the red flags. You're going to downplay your needs. You're going to downplay your standards. You're negotiating what you want in a relationship. You shouldn't be negotiating not a thing. We call that Nathan. Okay. You shouldn't negotiate what you need, what you want. You don't negotiate your care. You don't negotiate your care. Either he cares for you the way you want him to care for you, or he doesn't. If he doesn't, then you move around. You move where somebody, a man just said, single women keeping women single. She gonna keep the women single. No. I'm preventing the women from having a headache and a heartbreak. You don't negotiate your care. This here cell phone, if I don't keep this phone charged, I can't tell it, hey, stay charged. Hey, battery don't get low. Hey, this phone is going to turn off on me. And some of you need to be turning off. All right. Okay. Women who are waiting to be chosen are hyper focused on, does he like me? Why is he pulling away? Am I enough? You know, you may be trying to, as it relates to your appearance, maybe chasing your appearance to please him. I, before cancer, was a pixie cut girly. If a man shows up in my life like, oh, I like women with long hair, baby, it's not me. I'm not the woman for you. Because I like a pixie cut down. I like a pixie cut down. Okay? Short hair, don't care. That's who I am. All right? Not long hair, don't care. Short hair, don't care. Okay? Because the shorter it is, the easier it is. I put my scarf off. I took my scarf off. I said, whoop, there it is. Okay? Right? You are trying to contort yourself in order to be a woman you think that he wants or that he's telling you he wants. So you're not being authentic. You're more focused on securing the relationship than you being secure in the relationship and just secure in life. Okay? Instead of asking yourself, do I like him? Is he emotionally safe? Is he physically safe? Is he financially safe? Does his words match up with his actions, or does he say a whole lot and he doesn't do a lot? Can he, if you want this, right? And you also have to find, let me tell you something. For my girlies, especially that are younger, you need to define what leadership looks like for you, because you get to pick the leader that you are going to follow. You get to pick the leader that you're going to follow. And if you don't like his leadership skills, then you don't have to follow. I bet nobody ever told you that. No, sugar. See, in life, as it relates to, let's say for work, we can't fire our boss, right? We can't say, you're a terrible boss, I'm firing you. The only way you could do that is to quit that job. But that boss may still stay there. It's very important that you evaluate the type of leadership skills that you want in your partner, especially if you're looking for a man to lead you. Is he a servant leader? Meaning that that he's not just looking to be served, but he's willing to serve. He's willing to roll his sleeves up and he's willing to get in there. So when you have children and you're overwhelmed, you don't have to say, I'm overwhelmed, I need a break. He comes home, he says, give me the baby. You've been with the baby all day, give me the baby, go lay down. When he comes home and your children are a little bit older, he's like, leave my wife alone. She got something to do, baby. Go take a hot bubble bath. I brought in pizza. We're having pizza for dinner. I'm going to do homework. he's willing to serve. He says, hey, when dinner is cooked, baby, don't fix my plate first. You fix these kids. You get these kids settled. Let's get these kids settled, and then we'll eat. When you get sick, there's a gentleman who, when I announced that I had breast cancer, he had walked through cancer with his wife. When you get sick, how does he show up? Is he willing to coordinate the things? Does he sit with you while you're doing chemo and hold your hand? He's a servant leader. Okay, you may not want a servant leader. You may want a different one. You may want more egalitarian relationship. So you guys make decisions together. And that's the type of relationship that I'm looking for. Egalitarian. We make these decisions together. Okay? Right? Is his family safe? You may need to look into that. What are your needs? What are your needs? What do you want? And then you are evaluating him. Okay? Waiting to be chosen turns into performance. Dance. He becomes your puppet master. And you break dancing. Right? Mutual selection turns dating into discernment. I did that dating with discernment series. So if you haven't watched those videos, watch those. Right? And discernment is a power. You are choosing him. You guys are choosing each other. And you're making a decision to move forward. Okay? With any type of, look, I don't think relationships are businesses. But when two businesses come together, they have to sit down, they have to agree to the terms. When you are waiting for a man to choose you, then you are not putting your terms out there. So you just have to agree and do whatever it is that he says. And I want you to question how long you'll be able to do that. And if the carrot of the relationship is worth you sacrificing and betraying yourself. And sometimes women who are waiting to be chosen have codependency issues, and you need to work through that. You need to work through that. You have put relationships to such a high level that you're willing to sacrifice yourself for the relationship. A relationship should come and enhance you. Okay? So let's talk about what mutual selection looks like. He's choosing you and you're choosing him. He's vetting you and you're vetting him. He's asking you questions and you're asking him questions. You guys are both being intentional about getting to know each other. He's evaluating you and the same. It's not like an interview where you're sitting there trying to prove that, oh yeah, you have the skills and the knowledge, and no. And sometimes the reason why some of us have gotten into some jobs that we really didn't like is because we were desperate for the job. Because we're like, girl, I got bills to pay, so I got to take this job. And it ended up being detrimental to us. Don't show up to your relationship like that. Okay? I want you to know that you're not on a stage. You're not performing. That's not what you're doing. We're engaging, and both of us making a decision. Mutual selection looks like asking direct questions and not filling in the gaps. Ask him a direct question. A man who is healthy is not going to be offended because you ask him a direct question. Okay? Clarifying your intentions early. Your intentions and his intentions, that being very clear. And let's say this, even if you want to be in a relationship and he does too, doesn't mean that the two of you are going to be in a relationship together. So being okay with that too. Just because a man is looking for a romantic partner and you are too, doesn't mean that the two of you are going to be together. And I think that's where a lot of women get tripped up, because you want to be chosen. And so it's devastating to you. Like, well, he said he wanted to be married and he said he wanted to be in a relationship. Just because he tells you that's what he wants doesn't mean he wants it with you. But also you have to ask, do you want it with him? Okay? Mutual selection looks like having a timeline. Now, I know for a lot of women, you're like, within 90 days, he needs to make a decision about me and what we're going to do. But 90 days may not be enough time for you to evaluate him to determine if you want to be in a relationship with him. So create a unique timeline for yourself. I think I worked for one company. I don't know, it was either 6 months or a year before I could get benefits. 6 months or a year. So I want to challenge you as it relates to this 90 days. Somebody can show up really well for 90 days. Take more time to evaluate them. And the reason why I'm doing this video, because I'm giving you a sneak peek to how it is to be coached by me. You are a unique individual. Your unique needs as it relates to moving forward to exclusion may be very different, and his may be too. Now, I'm not talking about doing performance and these, silly things, but you may need to look at your personal timeline and what it is that you need, or what makes sense to you. What do you need to see before you agree to being exclusive with him? Okay. Mutual selection looks like, pause. Not you just waiting for him to initiate the conversation about exclusivity, but you may need to initiate the conversation about exclusivity and also respect his behavior and what you see. If you want to be exclusive with him, I think a man that wants to be exclusive, he's going to initiate the conversation. If he hasn't initiated the conversation, I feel like you should initiate it, not in order to move exclusive, but for you to gather the information as to why it hasn't moved in that direction. Now, if it hasn't moved in that direction and it's what you want, but he now is showing up to be unsafe with you, then you know that this is a person who you can't be exclusive with. I'm not into women proposing. I'm not into women being like, why aren't we exclusive? I'm not into that. The reason why I think women have the conversation about exclusivity is because quite often you're doing everything in the situation as an exclusive, as if you're exclusive, but you haven't put a title on it. A man who hasn't put a title on it at any point in my mind is a man who doesn't want exclusivity to you. So you have the conversation about exclusivity to end the relationship in my mind. So if I've been dating a man for 6 months, you have intuition, you have a gut, you know whether things are moving in a direction or not, and we haven't had a conversation about exclusivity, I would say, hey, by now I would have thought that we would be exclusive. It appears to me based off of your actions that we aren't, and I respect that. I wish you all the best. I'm not having the conversation of exclusivity with him in order to get him to be like, oh, no, I want to. No, he know what he want, and you know what you want. Okay. So if you have to have the conversation about exclusivity, 9 times out of 10, in my mind, he doesn't want it and you do, and you've been overperforming. But if I have to have a conversation about exclusivity, or if my clients are having a conversation about exclusivity, they're having that conversation in order to end the relationship and move forward. They're not waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. You participate in defining the relationship. And I want you to know that that's not masculine. That's being mature. Many women feel like that once you start dating, you're just supposed to sit back and wait for him and see what he's doing and how it's going. No, you are participating in this experience because it's your life. Oh, Timothy, he should pursue me. He should do this. He should do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a man to guide the experience, but we aren't prey for a man to pursue us. You're making decision. Okay? So let's talk about the fear behind wanting to be chosen. Sometimes the desire to be chosen isn't about love. It's about validation, right? You want to be chosen because somewhere you've been rejected. Somewhere you've been abandoned. Somewhere you fear that you're not enough. So when a man chooses you, it's like, okay, or you want to be chosen because you're like, oh, okay, there's not enough men out there. So, which is scarcity mindset. Okay, woo, got mine. All right. Right? But if he chooses you first, it also feels safer because a lot of women are taught that he is supposed to choose you. A lot of women are taught like, you don't shoot your shot. You don't do these things. But again, this is your life. A lot of the information that is fed to us causes us to be passive in an experience that we should both be mutually a part of. Okay? I want you to know that if your safety depends on him making the first move, then it's not real safety. I want you to move from being in the passenger seat as it relates to your dating life to moving into the driver's seat. I did the video about being the CEO of your love life. So you might want to view that. But we're moving. You're moving from being very passive to being assertive. A woman who's waiting for a man to choose her is not assertive in her dating. He gets to tell her what it's going to be. And she either says yes or says no. But a woman who's waiting to be chosen, she's saying yes to a lot of things that she really doesn't want to do. Okay? I think security is you saying to yourself, even if he doesn't choose me, I choose myself. And a lot of women are not choosing themselves. That's why it's so important for a man to choose you. When Sheba showed up to Solomon, she showed up as a queen. She showed up with an entourage. She showed up in all of her essence. And he took that in. She didn't shrink. Because she was his equal. And many of you are allowing men to choose you that aren't even your equal. They don't even have the capacity for who you are. You can run circles around them. But you want them to choose you. The women that I work with, let me say this if you're still here. The women that I work with are killing it in life. Highly successful. The issue is they don't have the skills that relates to relationships. So, and they've bought into a lot of the programming. So they're not confident in their dating. I want you to kill it in the relationship space the same way you're killing it in life. How will you graduate your class summa cum laude? You're in relationships with men and you're very accepting of them and their poor behavior. Because society tells you to. Society tells you to give a man a chance, to be understanding. You know, I had a lady yesterday, saw one of my videos. The video I talked about disrespect you can't come back from. And she was like, this is my first time watching you, so take this at a grain of salt. And I did. And she was like, this video just rubbed me the wrong way because I was a disrespectful one in my marriage and my husband worked with me. Listen, if that is your story, then that's your story, but you're off topic here. Because I'm talking to women who've experienced great hurt and pain as it relates to their relationship. You're talking apples and oranges. And so a lot of times you as a woman are getting that type of feedback. You need to give him a chance. He's a good man. Why can't you help him build those type of things? But you have realized that those type of experiences have caused heartache and betrayal. Betrayal from him maybe cheating on you, or betrayal of yourself because you don't even get to rest in the relationship. So you're working well and you're successful in life, but then you're having to do all of this work and overextend yourself in a relationship that you shouldn't have been in. But because of society and because of, I remember the other day talking to someone and they were like, Samithia, you just need a good man of this level to love you. And it's like, love is not enough. And you've come to that conclusion yourself. But you still have this little bit where you are doing these things where you want a man to pick you. No, you need to be engaging in mutual selection. We choose each other. This man has the characteristics and qualities that I need in a partner, so I don't have to shrink and I don't have to contort and I don't have to do all of this to perform for a relationship. Okay? Choose yourself. Choose yourself. I want you to know that some men choose women for convenience, because she's around, because of ego, because of his ego, not because she, really is the partner that he needs, but it's for ego. We see this in a lot of celebrity relationships where a man chooses a woman out of ego. Okay. Some men choose women for access to sex and control. Some men choose women because they have low self-esteem. You look at women that are powerful and the men that want to be with them. And sometimes a man wants to be with you only to crush you because it is the ego boost and the self-esteem boost that he needs. Some men choose you because they use you as a trophy. And if you allow your word to be contingent on male approval, you will be crushed. Right? Some men choose women because of emotional labor. So being chosen is not a prize. You don't even, if you are waiting to be chosen, you don't even know why that man is choosing you. You don't know the interworkings as to why he's choosing you, because you're just wanting to be chosen. And there are wolves that see that. They see that you want to be chosen, and they're going to give you exactly what you want in order to get what they want. Okay? So let's talk about how to shift that. I want you to date from curiosity, not anxiety. I want you to be curious about the men that are attracted to you. I want you to be curious about what they need, what they want. I want you to be curious about how they interact with you. I want you to be curious about why they say the certain things that they say when they say them. If you are curious about a man, you'll be curious about why. I think someone asked me a question about how to determine whether a man is showing up being vulnerable or if he's just trying to love bomb you with fake vulnerability in order to gain access to you. When you are curious about him, you'll ask questions. You'll even ask him, why did you feel like sharing that with me right now? And see what he says. Okay? Ask yourself, do I feel safe, seen, valued? If not, you need to exit. Ask yourself, am I performing for him? Is there something in me that feels like I need to perform for him in order to be with him? Or is he accepting of who I am and I'm accepting of him? I want you to initiate clarity. Ask him questions. And this is not in an interview way, but you're having a conversation, you know? And let's say you ask him questions like, what is it that you're looking for? And he's like, I find, now men talk differently than I do, okay? They talk differently than women. But he makes it I'm looking to be married. I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone who I can talk to. And you ask, well, what does that look like? If he describes something and it's not you, but you find yourself trying to twist yourself to become that, then what you need to do is gracefully leave that relationship. Okay? And even questions like, so where do you see this going? You need to know where you see it going. Sometimes women are asking, so where do you see this going? Because you want him to be like, I really like you. I can see this being long-term. Some men future fake. What's your timeline for the relationship? I mean, you. And also, if he tells you where he sees it going, do you see it going the same way? Or are there things that need to be addressed before it can move forward? Okay. Now, again, you need to have a personal timeline. This is not an ultimatum. This is a standard that you have internally. My timeline is exclusivity within 5 to 6 months, him proposing within 18 months. Now, this isn't mine. I'm just saying, and us being married within 2 years. I don't know. But you identify based off the things that are going on in your life, what your timeline is. Okay? And then I want you to detach from the outcome. The goal is not to secure him. The goal is to determine compatibility. Dating is about determining compatibility. It's about determining alignment. Are we aligned? Not, okay, I want to get married, so I got to do this. No. Are we aligned? Are we compatible? You don't want to be married to a man you're not compatible with, married to a man you're not aligned with. You don't want to be in that marriage. Okay? So, this is for the woman that wants to be chosen. I want you to move from wanting to be chosen to engaging in mutual selection. I don't want you ever to give your self-worth or your value to a man. It belongs to you. Your self-esteem belongs to you. Your identity is yours. Okay? I want you to know that you're not waiting to be picked. You are assessing, you are discerning, you are deciding. Is this man safe for me? Can I partner with him? Are we aligned? Are we compatible? Can I be vulnerable with him? Can I be soft with him? Can I be safe with him? Does he accept me? Can I be authentic with him? Can I be myself, or do I have to feel like I have to show up and perform? That's what we're doing. This ain't no duck, duck, goose. You're not the goose. You're choosing him, and he's choosing you. You're vetting him. He's vetting you. You're evaluating him. He's evaluating you. Does this make sense. Remember, we're dating logically, not from our heart. All right? This is Healed New Sexy. I want to hear from you down below. Your thoughts. Are you waiting to be chosen? Or are you now looking to engage in mutual choosing, mutual selection? All right? I love you so much. Till we talk again.